Now there's the other quarterback, Brock Purdy, who, by the way, as a starter, is 18-4 with a passer rating of 113. J-Mac loves him. I'm okay with him. But he does, and last night was another example. He stays on script and he executes. This offensive roster, it's insane. It's stacked. I mean, tight end's good. The backup running back's good. The left tackle's the best ever. Debo, Jennings, Ayuk, Kittle, the other tight end. They didn't even have their best offensive player last night. He doesn't need more horsepower. It's provided at left tackle, at running back 1, at running back 2. From the head coach, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle. He doesn't need more horsepower. You can argue it's the jockey or it's the horse. All I know is a horse. San Francisco's offense is Seattle Slew meets Secretariat meets Seabiscuit. It's Pro Bowlers everywhere. So what do I need more horsepower for? The Patriots built a dynasty on do your job. And that is exactly what Brock Purdy does. He does his job. The read, accurate, throw it to the right place, get it to the playmakers. There is no PR guy behind the scenes talking to Shanahan and John Lynch saying, we need a new campaign. Let Purdy cook. He's not interested. He's more prep cook than chef. Back, read, distribute, playmakers do the rest. He's the classic postman. He delivers the gifts on time. You can give him the credit. You can give the players the credit. But I will say this. I think he's literally the perfect quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. Remember, not anybody can do this. Let's be fair. They wanted Trey Lance. They gave up so much draft capital. They wanted somebody else to do it. And he couldn't. And Brock Purdy does. And I love watching San Francisco's offense with Brock Purdy. He doesn't have a ton of horsepower, doesn't have a huge arm. He moves okay, not great. He's not Lamar, Kyler, Josh Allen, but that's okay. He doesn't ad-lib out of the play. Let's be honest, when you watch San Francisco and you can watch their second running back look like a top 5 running back in the league, a lot of this is Shanahan. You know, I always said this offense is Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey. After last night, it feels more Shanahan than Christian McCaffrey. So not anybody can do this. Brock Purdy does. It's just symphonic. It's beautiful. It's fun to watch. And here was Kyle Shanahan on his great, always throwing to the right spot, doing the right thing, reading the right target quarterback, Brock Purdy.
He seemed very, very good. I mean, there was many plays that he left out there. I thought he made some big-time plays. I mean, there towards the end, got a little conservative, just felt that we had the game and wanted to focus on winning the game, so we didn't have him do a lot there at the end, and he was very smart with the ball and made sure that there was no chance for them to get back in the game.
Brock Purdy is always smart with the ball. We had Tom Brady on a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him, what is the secret sauce for young quarterbacks? And Tom said it's all above the shoulders. See it, read it, let it rip, execute. We spend so much time on size and moving and horsepower. And yeah, I watch Brock Purdy. This is the most fun I can have watching NFL football is watching the Niners offense. Would it be better if he was 6'6" and wildly athletic and not nearly as, reliably accurate? Deep shots down the field that were incomplete. When I watch this, it's like that's how football should be played. And it feels like not only is Purdy lucky to have Shanahan as his first coach, but Shanahan feels like he's lucky to have Brock Purdy. Incredibly coachable, always throws it to the right place, always on time, nicely packaged, perfect for the playmakers to execute after they get the ball. So,
okay. So I really want to talk about this because I think we need to put some things to bed about Brock Purdy and the 49ers. And I loosely talked about this in my immediate reaction to the game that I posted last night. All quarterbacks, every single quarterback is going to be better with a great coach. I've said this so many times now. Patrick Mahomes is better because of Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes would still be great. He would still be a top quarterback in the NFL. He is better because of Andy Reid. anyone who wants to deny that, I'm sorry. At this point, it's a waste of a time to even debate you on this, because it's just, if you can't see it, you can't see it. Brock Purdy is, of course, better because of Shanahan. But Brock Purdy is a great quarterback. When we're watching what we're seeing, when he just kind of went through some of those highlights, as you could see on the side of the screen, that's not just Shanahan. Brock Purdy is hitting his guys, and he does so at an incredibly high rate. I mean, it's nearly perfect. He throws nearly perfect balls. It's one thing, we could really just say that that it's all because of the coach or the players. If these players were just wide open, he's throwing nothing but 5-yard passes, or like kind of just throwing a 1-yard pass and just having the offensive players just break tackles and do all the work. That's what a lot of people believe Brock Purdy does with the 49ers. That it's just like, I just throwing it off to someone, and then Christian McCaffrey just jukes and just breaks 12 tackles, and like, that's it. Or Debo is just, he just gets to Debo, then Debo just does everything else. Brock Purdy puts the ball in perfect positions. The way he anticipates, the way he processes, he's so calm and confident now. And when I said this, yesterday, in the last couple of, for his first couple of years with Shanahan, it felt very much like Brock Purdy was really just like an avatar for Shanahan, right? It was really just Shanahan pulling all the strings, hitting all the buttons and doing everything. And Purdy was just 100% vacant and just doing what Shanahan wanted him to do. And understandably so. I think that's, it was a right approach. Now it feels like Brock Purdy is an extension of Shanahan on the field. That's, to me, what it really feels like. And that's how I see Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' relationship. And Patrick Mahomes, of course, has more control on the field because he deserves it. He is indeed Patrick Mahomes. But Brock Purdy is now one step closer towards that. I really, really believe that. When you see him throw the ball, I watched every game. And I'm watching all these quarterbacks. And I don't care who's on your team, whether these guys are wide open or not, I'm looking at the comfortability of these quarterbacks and how well they did. Did they put the ball in harm's way? Did they make the other team look better than they were? Did they make the other team look worse than they were? We saw a lot of quarterback struggle, whether rookies, whether seasoned veterans, whatever it was. We saw some questionable quarterback play all around the league. Brock Purdy never had that moment. There was really only a handful of quarterbacks. And the Jets, I know they looked listless, but they are not the scrub team. I do not believe that they are. I know their defense was a little bit weird with some injuries and players kind of in and out and stuff. But they made that look so easy. And it was this type of game exactly why I was hard on the Dallas Cowboys. And said, why are you all praising the Dallas Cowboys as having this big monster win? That looked weird. That looked a little bit sloppier. You took advantage of Deshaun Watson turning the ball over and being just a bad quarterback. And Dak Prescott did not look smooth. Dak Prescott had some highlights, absolutely. He had some more splash plays, but he also had some really questionable throws and really questionable moments. That's not what Brock Purdy and the 49ers did. That's what an elite team looks like. They make the other team just look like nothing. And it's not taking advantage of Aaron Rodgers looking all lost and confused and scrambling for his life and throwing really bad interceptions. His one interception was like a fluke interception. And Brock Purdy just effortlessly carved up that defense. And the run game was huge, but it was also a big part of it was the fact that you gotta respect Brock Purdy's ability to throw the ball. You leave anyone open and Brock Purdy will get him the ball. I mean, it's practically a guarantee at this point. He just finds his men. He just finds them. And he puts it on them perfectly. No matter where in the field. He sees the field beautifully. So this idea that you need Brock Purdy to be able to scramble and run for 100 yards, or you need him to buy time in the pocket for 5 seconds, then launch up a 60-yard, pass, like Anthony Richardson's literal 70-yard pass. That's what makes you a great quarterback. I disagree. Those moments are great. Those moments can be special. Watching Lamar Jackson run all over the Chiefs, it's exciting. It jumps off the screen. And when you have a quarterback like that, in a way, it can make you more resilient. right? And you don't have to have as good of a team because you can just say, here, Josh Allen, I just need you to get us a touchdown. And he can do it. He can literally leap over people. But what Brock Purdy does is a superpower too. He hits the open man. He finds them nearly every single time. His ability to execute Shanahan's offense and the game plan virtually flawlessly is a superpower. It just is. Yes, if you took away Christian McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk, and who would he be? Who would any quarterback be? And if you say, well, Shanahan makes him better. Yes, Shanahan would make every quarterback better. Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback with McVay. Josh Allen would be a significantly better quarterback with Shanahan. So yes, lots of quarterbacks would be better with Shanahan. So to say that a quarterback would be worse if we take away that, Patrick Mahomes, take away Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes comes back down a little bit. Andy Reid consistently schemes guys open for Patrick Mahomes. And credit to Patrick Mahomes, he hits them. But he gives Patrick Mahomes layup after layup after layup. And then when Patrick Mahomes needs to be magical, Patrick Mahomes can be magical. But he sets the foundation of layups. He doesn't make him shoot logo threes just to stay into the game. And that's what Shanahan does for Brock Purdy. And again, I'm like, at this point, I have no strong desire to kind of keep going back and forth between, well, what about the weapons? What about this? What about that? Shanahan is a genius. Shanahan is an elite coach. And Brock Purdy is a great quarterback for him. I'm not going to say that Brock Purdy is elite. I think there's one step, further where he has to prove that. I think he needs to truly ball out in the playoffs. I think he truly needs to have a moment where things are not going so well and he carries that team on his back to be able to say, okay, I am elite, but he is great and he can play elite when the moment calls for it. But truth be told, at this point, there's really only like 2 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, there's a couple in the wings waiting to get there, and I'm really curious to see if Brock Purdy can get there. But what he does, I just think, it's just, are we going to have to go through a whole season again where we just keep talking about the weapons and Shanahan and who is Brock Purdy? Like, I'm going to do this, probably going to have to say a lot of similar things because I want to see what Nick Wright has to say on First Things First. But we know he doesn't think the Jets are that good, so he'll minimize this. And I don't think that's fair because I don't think the Browns are that good. And when look at how the 2 offenses were run versus the Cowboys versus the 49ers. This was a smooth operating team. This was a quarterback who was 100% in control, who saw the field perfectly. It was almost a boring game, honestly. That's what it felt like. I watched that whole game. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm just like, oh, it's over? I'm like, what the heck was that? Like, it was just like such a quiet, just kind of like smooth game. Like it was like a lot of the other games had a lot of firepower and a lot of intense, a lot of back and forths, and this game just like wasn't that. It was boring for the most part. And again, that's the Brock Purdy effect because he just does the simple things right. He's not a big splash player, but he also doesn't miss his guys. And at the end of the day, that's what you need from your quarterback. And I said this in my my post game video. Brock Purdy is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson. He's a better passer than Lamar. Yes, he can't run like Lamar, but he is a better pure quarterback than Lamar Jackson. He can stay healthy. Joe Burrow can't. Like, when do we just consistently put Brock Purdy in the top 10, top 5 list? Because it seems like really only 49ers fans will put him in top 5, and it seems like only, a handful of people will put him in the top 10. When does he get the treatment that maybe we, like, again, I understand that people don't want to put him in the category as Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, because those are true athletic freaks. But when does he start to kind of get the Jared Goff treatment, where most people have him top 10, or a Justin Herbert treatment, or a Trevor Lawrence? And again, in those lists, I almost regret already saying those names because that's going to probably trigger a lot of people. Don't get lost in the names. I'm just trying to emphasize all the various lists. Like, you have more people. It seems more people than not don't even put him in the top 10. And I don't like to have to number people. I put them in groups. So we could have 15 top 10 quarterbacks technically is the way how I look at it. I don't feel the need that I have to stack people up above or below one another, because I think it's too impossible to ever accurately do that, because they play on completely different teams with completely different weapons, with completely different coaches, playing different teams in different divisions. It's just impossible to me. But Brock Purdy is a top quarterback. Just the way I see it. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? How did you think about Brock Purdy and the 49ers? Do you think that they're going to continue this momentum, continue to be a top team? And what do you think about Brock Purdy? Do you think he is the perfect QB for Shanahan and the 49ers? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.